Mike's Daily Podcast.
Baby, I don't need dollar bills and I'll have fun tonight. I don't know why that sea of songs in my head. I love Cheap Thrills. It's an old song now. It's been out for like 3 years. It's Mike Matthews podcasting away here on this Thursday. Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, and this is FF episode 1607, 1607.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I met up with my friend yesterday and had some delicious coffee at Hippie's Brew. That's in Hayward.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Not to give them a free plug, but they sang and they were dancing around listening to rap. I'm not the biggest fan of that, I've found, but hey, they had a lot of joie de vivre, and I think there are some things that I believe, and that is, that song is so catchy that my friend Kevin,
Mike's Daily Podcast,
when he listens to this podcast cleaning at his work, he will sing along to that song
Mike's
and create his own lyrics.
Daily
Perhaps you do as well.
Podcast.
Go ahead and try.
Yeah!
No more!
You don't want to? All right.
I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I won't force you to sing. Hey man, if that's not your bag. I went all 70s on you just then. Did you like it? Can you dig it? Are you...
You're fab, you're switched on, you're a bit of all right, yes!
Well, the other interesting thing that happened with Kevin... Oh, look who else walked in! Or somebody just walked in. Hello, Mike Matthews, it's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Why do you have to yell? Why do I have to yell? Yeah, Mike Matthews. I just have a lot of energy today, because it's Thursday, and we're so close to Friday, I can smell it. Oh no, it's this shirt. Oh, I thought I picked out a clean shirt. No! Look who else walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. And your shirt smells okay. It does? Oh, good. Hey, we're going to do a podcast picture in a moment, which I have no idea what it is. Not a clue. Per usual. So we'll get to that in a moment. But speaking of pictures, there was a bartender that Kevin and we went to this place. And this girl...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Very striking. These crazy smoky blue eyes. Very young, very millennial. No, she's probably whatever that thing is before millennials. And she was like...
Right? Good.
And she was... Oh my god, I am like so sick right now. Do you guys mind if I go use the bathroom? And she's walking really, really slow. I'm walking really slow right now. I'm gonna use the restroom, but you guys don't take anything. So she went into the bathroom and we poured some beer. We took beer out of the tap, just drank away. No, we didn't do that. We were cool. I'm a photographer. And you know, here's the thing, is we're all photographers now. Thanks to Snapchat, thanks to Instagram, thanks to the fact that there are cameras on all our phones. And thanks to the fact that I just found this thing.
Oh, snap.
Because of Snapchat, which I had on my phone. I'm trying to get something out of my pocket. Will you excuse me here at Café Anyway? Excuse me. One of the things this girl did, though, is she mentioned she was Polish, and I mentioned, because I talk my freaking head off all the time, that when I lived in Van Nuys growing up, Van Nuys, California, the porn capital of the world! I had no idea that was the fact of the matter growing up in Van Nuys. When I saw Boogie Nights, which I've had to fast forward to it. I'm not the biggest fan of that director, Paul Dean Anderson. Holy crap, the dude needs to edit. He's all about setting a scene and making you feel uncomfortable, and I don't do that anymore. I'm not that kind of a movie goer. But no, and then The Master, that was an interesting movie because it was all about Scientology, and it was one of the last big movies. Philip Seymour Hoffman, but somebody with 3 names who's no longer with us, sadly. But he did such a great job in that movie. And who was in that one too? The Amy. At any rate, and Joaquin Phoenix was in that. Not in Boogie Nights, in The Master. Strange movie. Hey, though, there's a cool scene where they're sailing from San Francisco over to somewhere, and it's like in the 1940s, and the way they did this shot in San Francisco on the boat was pretty cool. But that's what I like him for. His movie Magnolia. Oh, don't even get me started. My ex-wife had a friend that had a nervous breakdown during Magnolia. That movie is intense. It's just long, and frogs are falling from the sky. It makes no sense. But they had a great soundtrack with Amy Mann. One is the loneliest number. Save me. So she told me about this cabbage roll thing, that this is exactly what my neighbors across the street in Van Nuys, the Careys, what are their names? An old Polish couple, and they'd go, Michael, come over and have some. I'm sounding like Dracula. They didn't sound like that. They said, Mike, come over, have some cabbage rolls. And I'd be like, what? They were delicious. So you're supposed to de-leaf the cabbage, put the leaves in hot water. This is exactly what she wrote on the back of a receipt paper. Once soft, wrap the ready meat. By the way, this bartender, this girl was also a little bit tipsy, I would say. She had some kind of drink, some kind of brownish liquid. She was sipping on some kind of hardish alcohol. Some spirits she was drinking. In big pot, put tomato paste, chicken broth, mushrooms, onions, and simmer. Simmer down now, simmer down. In meat, sauteed onions and seasoning. Stuff leaves. Put in pot. I'm reading it as the letters are getting bigger. She was yelling at me. Cook 1 hour to 1.5 hours. And there you go. That is how you make it. Ta-da. So she was interesting. And Basil, on my wonderful dog, Basil the Boxer. So, by the way, I have a neighbor that lives around the corner from me who gave me 2 artichokes yesterday. She grows so many cool things in her garden. How does her garden grow? Well, with cockle shells, which I don't know what that is. It freaks me out saying that word. But I think I'll name the show today Cockle Shell. No, that might offend some people. I don't know. I'll come up with some name. So she has this artichokes. I love the artichoke plant. It's the funkiest looking thing. Looks like it's from another planet. They grow. Everybody can grow them here in the Bay Area. The climate is perfect. So she's growing some artichokes, and she gives me 2. And I say thank you. And she's listening to a podcast. She's listening to Planet Money, which there's 2 things I hate about Planet Money's podcast. One is they produce it and upload it the lowest volume. You can't turn your speakers up loud enough to hear the show. You can't hear what they're saying. And number 2, and I've talked about this before, they dumb it down so much. And I need money topics dumbed down. I can't follow all these financial CPAs, FICs, all those are difficult. What is the one I was trying to say? Roth? IRA? God. See, that's how bad I am at the money topics. And I work for a radio station that talks about money. But so she's listening to Planet Money, and I tell her I do a podcast, and she goes, "What?" So she might be listening to this podcast. At any rate, Basil, the day before, as we were walking along, we run into a friend of mine named Terry, and he's got a dog named Bella. And Bella is part lab, part German Shepherd. And Bella is running around because you can be off leash in this cool area of Podcastro Valley called Coal Canyon, which I have often posted a picture of. And in fact, should I post? No, I think we're going to go back in time. We're going to go back in time to 2014. We're going to go back 4 years ago to a very cool picture of a very interesting area. I don't go to it anymore because I had a really bad experience. They have a really nasty homeless problem, and just the people there and the residents who are not homeless hate dogs. So I went there, and all these people are giving me the stink eye because I got the wonderful Basil the Boxer with me. So I said, I'm no longer going to Point Richmond, is what it is. Point Richmond. And it's at this point that you can see. You need to go there, though. Point Richmond. And I think it's called Miller Knox Park. And you go up to the top of this hill, and you've got this beautiful 180 view. You can see to the left Berkeley, to the right San Francisco, and Tiburon. It's a beautiful view. Go there, check it out. I am posting a picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. And unlike all the NPR podcasts and public broadcasting podcasts, like Planet Money, I will not beg for money on this podcast. You are welcome. But if you'd like to help donate, PayPal, there's a PayPal link at mikesdailypodcast.com, and you can see the little PayPal icon. But Basil we were there with the wonderful Bella and Terry. I think he works for Tesla. He's always driving a Tesla car. There are Tesla cars all over the Bay Area. Which reminds me of this. Oh my gosh. So the radio shows that I produce, I'm supposed to drop in sound effects. And when the guy talks about Tesla, why am I not ever playing this song? That's there's a reason why you don't play that song, Mike, is because she's saying no, no, no. That's Tesla girls, Tesla girls. I might play that. Thank you you gave me an idea. Thank you, podcast listener. Thank you so much. By the way, that radio station is AM 1220 in the Bay Area. And so if you are listening, giving myself a plug, between 6 and 8 a.m., if you hear any sound effects or the music that you hear playing into and out of the show, I got to pick all that. That's me. And Kevin used to do that. So we often commiserate and talk about and share ideas about the old days. So it was fun catching up with Kevin. This was on Tuesday. So also on Tuesday, as Bella was running around, Bella ran right into Basil. I mean, smacked him hard, knocked him over like a bowling pin, and Basil got right back up again. But I was, whoa, did that hurt? And I've been knocked over by a Labrador. This happened on New Year's Day about 3 years ago at Point Isabel, which is close to Point Richmond. Every morning, it seems, when I come in to do my show, I have to restart the main computer, which is what I use to create the show, and it's a bummer. Dennis Prager is a radio host who I have to make sure that his show is playing. It's a national show, so I'm not actually producing the show. But I have to hear part of his show anyway. And Dennis Prager believes something that I do not. And he believes that you cannot find God in nature. He says when you are in the forest and when you're in nature and when you're on top of a mountain and you're looking up at the stars and you're just being overwhelmed with the beauty, with the magnificence, with the pure, unadulterated unadultery of it all. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that is not God. And so when he said that, I was like, you, how do you know, Dennis Prager? Who died and made you the interpreter of all? You're a stupid conservative talk show host. Shut up. So that's what I said. Oh, and I also said this to him.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
So, because I think you can find, if you know what, I don't know if it's sacrilegious to say this, but you can find God in nature, I think, or something that resembles it. That's my opinion. I could be off. You probably believe something else. No, God is only in the Bible. All right, whatever. Some days it is errand after errand after errand when I get off of work. And I'm at home and I'm running errand after errand after errand. And I look at my dog, Basil the boxer, and I say, why can't you do any of this? Why don't you have an opposable thumb? But, and also, speaking of Basil the boxer, I'm getting a little bit nervous because very soon I need to go to Florida to see my mom. And I don't have the the people that I used to rely on to watch Basil, to walk him and feed him, basically, I don't have them anymore. So I've got no one. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I just thought I would share that because I share things on this podcast. I tell you what's on my mind. I tell you about the world. I don't know why I was about to play a cricket sound effect, but here it is. I tell you about crickets. Maybe that's the audience I have right now, but that's what I'm worried about. And finally, there was also at that place where the bartender was giving me the cabbage roll recipe, there was a guy with really bad teeth, and Kevin and I were talking to this guy with bad teeth, and we started talking about Ringo Starr and about how he probably wasn't the best drummer in the world, but he showed up and he was on time. And Paul McCartney said he had to redo all of his drumming parts, whatever. The fact that Ringo was on time was the point. And this guy dropped so many F-bombs, and I was talking about F-bombs yesterday. And he would just say the same thing. If you don't show up on time, I don't care who you are. I don't give a who I am. And finally, and I'm wrapping this up as we go outside of Café Anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. I listened to a podcast called Crosscurrents. It's made by KALW. And at first I really enjoyed the show because it is so local. If you want to know what San Francisco and Oakland is like and Berkeley, listen to this podcast because they talk about pot, homeless, and the LGBTQ community. Which then I found out by listening to the latest show that there's also the QTPOC or the QTPOC, which that is the queer, trans, and people of color community. So that's QTPOC. And I didn't know this. I wouldn't have known this. But apparently there's some performance they're going to be doing, some QTPOC company where you have men that are on stage, but they're actually women. You know what I'm saying? It's the thing. It's not exactly binary. And that was my whole point, was when I was at this hippies brew in Hayward, they have a sign on their door, on their restroom door, because they have one room, and the room says, the sign says, don't force us to be binary. And that's the Bay Area, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who wanted a little taste. I was going to look at something on the news. Maybe I was going to play a little bit of Tesla Girls again. Yeah. And that is going to be a tribute band I am not going to go see. And I guess... Man, what is up with flight... It's almost like I am about to take a flight somewhere, because whenever I'm about to fly somewhere, I that's when all these crazy airline stories take place, and then I don't want to fly. It seems like it's rigged that way, but it's not about me. It's just that's how it is sometimes. Ex-Playboy model can now discuss the allegations that she has against Trump. Trump says he'll leave if summit with North Korea is not successful. He expressed optimism about an oncoming summit with North Korea, but said if he doesn't think it will be successful, the summit will not happen. And if the summit is not successful, he will leave. He made the comments along with remarks on the Russian investigation, Russia itself, and trade in a news conference with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. See, I heard yesterday he was going to Beijing, but do you know what that was? That was...
You are fake news. Fake news. Fake news.
Thank you for listening to the show. Did we ever get to a podcast picture? I don't think we did. Oh, yeah, we did. It was the Point Richmond. Sorry. I just got a little sidetracked. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Check out the podcast picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. Have a great day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.